Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the Untold with Hayvi Buzo. I'm joined today by a very special and dear person to me personally, Michal Lichtman, who is a mind, body, and spirit guide who teaches people how to connect to the peace from within them, according to her own words, and meditation and bridging the gaps, connecting the people, and how to actually find peace outside of you through reaching it and maybe connecting to it within you. Thank you so much for joining me today, Michal. You are in New York right now, but I want to kind of give you the opportunity to maybe talk a little bit about what you do and how you started connecting to that very important source for peace and love that we all have.
Thank you, Hayvi. Wow, a big question. That's a long time story. It is. It did start with pain inside of me, physical pain, mental pain, difficulties. But as a kid, I remember myself longing to create bridge between people, to create connection between people that are different. I always felt and did action towards it. And with that, I, even as a kid, was going to kids that were in different kind of groups than me and trying to help them at a certain point of my life.
Can you tell me a bit more about this? Because I do want people to know about your background. You are Israeli.
I am Israeli, and I was born and raised in the south of Israel.
In the south of Israel.
In Beersheba. And in our community, there were different communities within every area, and the schools were combined schools. So kids from different level of economy would come to the same school, and I would see those kids that were at difficulties, and even though they were not part of the group nor popular, and even though I was popular and they were not, somehow my heart was longing to help them, and I was going to their houses in the afternoons to help them to do homework, and sometimes even sit with them in their homes, because they were mentioning that if I'll be there, they won't be hurt by their parents or older siblings. And they were not great neighborhoods, and I wasn't, I was kind of scared to get there, but I did it because, I don't know, I can't really tell why I did that. It felt right to me. So this is part of my personal history. And seeing the equality in everyone and understanding that everyone is doing at every point their 100%, didn't mean to me that they're not capable of more, which is a good thing and not so good thing. But the understanding that we can help everybody find more within them is something that I was driven by all my life. And so this is how I, at a certain point of my life, got to a point that I started studying yoga, then teaching yoga, then recognizing the pains, the physical pain I had inside of my body. And from there, not much after, the emotional pains unfolded. And through all that, I realized, wow, this is something that can help everybody. We can make it as simple as possible so everyone can understand that. And let's teach everybody how to find peace inside of them. And if we'll help everyone, every individual, to find peace inside of them, then the relationship between individuals is going to change. We are now in a new paradigm, a new time in the world where everyone is sitting in their homes, having an opportunity to look inwardly. At first, they'll look at the walls, and then at the people inside of the walls within them, all the energies within them, all their stuff, and things are changing their meanings. there are different meanings to everything. And luckily, the internet allowed so many people that are disconnected to get together. So if you were asking of how I bridge between different people, at this point of my life, I get to different communities in Israel or other places in the world, and I teach how to find peace within. And it's, to me, very simple.
And we're gonna get to that now, and we'll talk a little bit more about the teaching in itself. But you said something very interesting, Michal. You said that when you started connecting to within yourself, you started realizing the physical and emotional and psychological pains that you've had, but you didn't really tap into before you start looking inwards. Like by looking inwards, we were able to find out what's really going on in there and maybe start healing.
Right. So usually people don't look inward until they really need to. Mm-hmm. And happens when they kind of hit rock bottom. And apparently that's what happened to me. That's when yoga came to me, and that's where all these studies and understanding and unfolding, I call it, came to be. The awareness, the ability to become more tuned with my energies, understand what happened to me because I clocked the energies, what happened in my physical body. As I mentioned, I had a lot of physical issues too at the time.
Yes. And you started as a child realizing that you had this mission, that you had this longing and this love and care that you wanted to help other kids. And now you grew into the person that you are today, doing wonderful things and shining lights. And I do want to talk about what you do in Israel. You go to Arab towns and villages, and you do big gatherings of women, specifically women, to helping them turn the light within. Tell me about how this started and what type of feedback did you get as an Israeli going, an Israeli Jewish woman going into these Arab towns and villages?
So that's a big question. So I started teaching what I'm teaching a while ago and was coming to all kinds of school systems. Jewish, not Jewish, Bedouin, Christians, Arabs, Muslims, through a federation, a Jewish federation that has contacts with all different villages. We were teaching in Bedouin little towns where they were not even speaking Hebrew. The teacher, the new generation there does not speak Hebrew, and the teacher needed to translate. And later on, through all this doing, I met many people that were impressed, happy with it, and said, wow, why won't you come to my organization? And I'm teaching in nonprofit organizations that are dealing with kids with difficulties. And I'm teaching in Arab villages where women are dealing with a lot of emotional pain and struggle. And I have friends that brings me to many places that support what I'm doing, because through their experience, when they felt the difference through my workshop, they are recommending it to others. It's word of mouth. It's not advertised anywhere. It's just people that realized it through what I did to them and wants to bring me outward there.
What were the responses to you from Arab women in general?
Wow. Well, they're all thankful. Everybody, anyone and everyone that recognized that there is a possibility of feeling at peace, even for one moment, feel like they got the gift of their life. And when they realize it, they feel it, because we go through some exercise that made them feel that. They're so happy that not just that they want to share with other people, they are willing to come again and again to practice every time I come. And now the world has shrunk. Through internet, I can get to all of them without even having to travel and fly every month all over the place.
Yes, and you started doing now with the global pandemic that is happening, and you mentioned that earlier, that this made everybody kind of have the time. And through the internet, you're trying to share the light and connect people to the light via Zoom online.
Right? People are feeling very trapped. People are scared, they're feeling trapped, they're afraid of a change. It's very natural, it's very normal. So week by week, we go over how to allow the change to happen. And those who are participating, feeling the difference and the change, and that's what brings them back. That's the only thing. There's no big system. I'm just a reminder here of what is God's gift to everyone. And because every religion's God had given them the same gift of breath, everyone could practice it. There's no religion to it. There's nothing to it. It's just a reminder to breathe and how you feel and how to expand the breath and how to do more about it, and then how to take it into practices, including driving. I talk about it all the time. You heard me. And it's how to recognize your strength and therefore grow stronger and stronger. That's where the light expands within us, when we recognize it.
And if I want to ask you a little bit more about the light, you know, you always talk about the light within us. Does that light also connect people? I mean, it's within us, but it also kind of a part of something maybe bigger that connects everybody. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about your vision of how this, especially, you know, for you, giving the region, the Middle East, if we talk about the Middle East, what you're doing is very extraordinary and very inspirational. But it's happening in a region that has had wars for so long. And finding that light probably seems to be a little bit more difficult in this part of the world. Giving, you know, especially if you look at the broader Middle East as well. How do you imagine connecting people through this light, not only within Israel, but talking about the broader Middle East region?
You have to take a deep breath for that. So I see it as an individual work, and the more individuals will be connected to their inner lights, the greater the ability will be to connect to others. Because if you think about it, and as I teach it, you imagine a ray of sunshine and you allow it in. The sunshine is everybody's sunshine, and it shines every morning wherever you are in the world, in your morning. And if you allow yourself to be part of nature and connect to that part that allows darkness to dissolve, and it takes stretching and work, it takes a lot of physical work as well, and strengthening. But as you feel the expansion of the light within you, then you understand that your light is other people's light. It's exactly the same light, no matter what religion you are, no matter what nation you are, no matter what gender you are, and even if you changed your gender. Everybody is a soul, and the soul, when the soul is bright and not dimmed, then there is a conversation. And I believe that's why I come from very small places, brightening individuals that go out and make the change in the world.
Mm-hmm. How do you see this growing? Especially that we realize the need for it, and seeing how the Middle East is probably changing. How could you bring more light into these individuals, but in different parts of the region?
So you remember I told you I want to teach in the Middle East far, and we were trying to work on a plan of how to get me to all those countries that are not really open to this new vision in life. I'm sure there are many people in there that are doing that beautiful work. I know that they are. The more people I'll touch, it's just like Corona. It touches one person, that spread it to three. I touch one person, that spread it to three, and then it grows and grows and grows. If I can get out there, I would love to come with my energy, with hope that it can do good. Otherwise, I guess through Zoom, that's the way the world works. If people are willing, I do have some people that are coming from that time zone, without mentioning, that are coming to class online. And I'm very grateful for that, and for those who connected me to them. And the more the merrier. It's the internal understanding, it's the eternal freedom, it's the releasing of that big box that is amazing, but somehow takes us into a little roller coaster and not helping us.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And you tell me that about myself a lot. That you always tell me your head is going forward. You just need to be and be present and not try to jump forward. My head.
Yeah, the head goes that way.
The head's going that way, right? Naturally, like, and maybe with some people more than others. I would, guilty as charged. I am one of those people who are very.
I was there too. When we are born as kids, we are all naive and happy and optimistic. Now, no baby is not optimistic. They don't know what it is. But during the life course and during the experiences and during the don't do this and don't do this, we form a sort of self that usually manifests later on in life. And there are many unsolved adults or unresolved adults that are acting still like kids because they were going forward and didn't enjoy their time being present.
Yes. And now with the pandemic happening, and people being naturally and the way that you're talking about, that we always want to kind of jump ahead. It seems to be a very challenging times, not only the fear that is growing among everybody, being afraid of what's next, afraid of each other, afraid of going to the grocery store. I mean, it's a very fearful time. And I believe that we're all feeling those emotions at this point. How do you, and I know that you're trying to spread the life through the light, through your classes that you're doing online currently, but what would you recommend to our listeners, to our viewers, on how to kind of deal with this challenging time where fear is really growing, probably more than other things, and how to connect to the light through it all?
So there were two very scary situations in my life. One of them in 1993, that I lost a balanced nerve to a tumor in my brain. But at that time, I was in a very brave place in my life. I had a young boy, 6.5 years old, and I was a single mother. And all I cared about is survive and survive well. And I didn't see myself or think of myself. And I kept going on with life. I said, nothing scares me. I know I'm going to go through it. Whatever it takes, I'll make it happen. The second time, it was about 7 years ago when my late husband passed, and it was a very difficult time. It was a very difficult time through his illness, and what had happened afterwards was a true darkness. And sitting in that darkness made me realize how to deal with it. And so if you're asking about fear, fear is darkness. Fear is a place that you don't know where you're going to go, how you're going to go, and why you're going to go. When I was in this greatest place of fear, in that deep, deep darkness, all I could remember was a story my late husband used to tell me all the time. And it is in the beginning of my book. It goes like that. And if I mess it up a little bit, that's okay, right?
Yes.
So A little bird is flying in the desert, the frozen desert of Siberia, and the freezing cold and the snow froze her wings, and she falls to the snow, almost dying. And the snow comes on top of her, and she's getting buried in the snow, losing her life. Happens to be that a cow passed in that same exact place at the same exact time and shat right on top of the bird.
Mm-hmm.
What a coincidence. The hot, warm shit melted the snow, melted the little bird's wings. And the bird came back alive. She defrosted and froze. So she started tweeting, coming back to life. When we come back to life, we're happy.
Yeah.
A cat passed by, heard the tweeting, pulled the bird out of the shit and swallowed her. It was his lunch. There are three very deep understanding from these stories.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone that shits on you is your enemy. Not everyone that gets you out of your shit is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are in the shit, stay quiet and don't tweet. And that was my way of being throughout this very dark times. In the shit, you stay quiet and don't tweet. Just stay and observe and see what happens. I know it has to do a lot with some people's livelihood, with some people's health. When it comes to health, you got to take care of it. But knowing that part of our emotional self is so connected to the health, what I'm teaching people is how to release those fears through sitting down and breathing, moving, finding strength, breathing deeper and expanding and actually releasing a lot of tension that they hold on to. There is so much that we can learn about it, but we have to start somewhere. And the most important thing is the breath. And if you think about it, when you're not breathing, you're not alive. So part of your bodies that are shut down and not getting breath, of course they're going to scream, I'm in pain, I'm hurt. You're killing me. So this is as basic as it is.
Finally, going forward, and I did kind of touch base on that just a minute ago. In your opinion, and as we're seeing the change in the Middle East, do you think that Arab countries are ready for an Israeli like yourself to go and share and spread the light with them?
I can just say that I believe that they are. And when the time is ready, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. We discussed that, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll gladly come. I'll gladly open as many workshops as needed via Zoom. Everybody can get connected. Whoever chooses to get connected can get connected.
How can people connect to you if they want to, after listening to this podcast, they want to also be sharing the light with you?
Beautiful. info@shalomyoga.tv.
Info at
shalom
yoga
dot TV, like television.
.tv.
Right.
Shalom Yoga, one word.
Shalom Yoga in one word.
Awesome. Obviously, our conversation could go on a little bit more. And we continue to talk, me and you, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life, Michal. I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. Thank you for doing that work with yourself. Thank you for going through the path. Thank you for who you are. You're a bright, shining light in this world.
Thank you so much, and definitely we'll continue the conversation. So that's it for today. Thank you so much all for listening and watching. With you, Hayvi Buzo and The Untold. And joining us was Michal Lichtman. And you can follow and subscribe to the YouTube page. And I would love to hear your feedbacks. So please feel free, and I encourage you to give us the feedback and all of your thoughts about our podcast.